Have you ever looked at a sci-fi movie and thought, man, I wish I could build my own futuristic habitat? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. And the best part? We're doing it with some simple cardboard and tape. Let's get to it. So, here's the big question, right? How on earth do you build a huge, curved structure using nothing but flat, boring triangles? It sounds like some kind of geometry nightmare, but the solution? Well, it's actually beautiful. And it's inspired by something you've probably kicked around in your backyard 1,000 times. All right, here's our mission briefing for today. First, we're going to pull back the curtain on the simple secret that makes this whole thing possible. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the assembly line. After that, the fun part, bringing the habitat to life. And finally, we'll wrap up with why this project is just so cool. Okay, first things first, the secret sauce to our dome. And don't worry, you are not going to need a degree in advanced engineering for this. It all comes down to a super clever trick called the soccer ball method. Now, technically, what we're building is a geodesic dome. These things are incredibly strong. But building one the traditional way, oh man, it usually means a ton of complex math, calculating all these weird angles and strut lengths. Yeah, we're going to skip all that. So let's just put it side by side. You've got the hard way, with all that complicated math and tons of different unique triangles. Or you have our way, the soccer ball method, where we just use a whole bunch of identical triangles. It's so much simpler and honestly, way more elegant. So here's how the magic happens. First, you're going to mass produce a bunch of identical equilateral triangles. Then you tape 5 of them together at the points. Boom, you've got a pentagon cap. Next, you tape 6 of them together. You guessed it, that's a hexagon ring. And when you start connecting these pentagons and hexagons, a natural curve just starts to form. It's awesome.
All right, we've got the theory down. Now it's time to actually build this thing. So in this section, we're going to walk you through the entire assembly line process, from a flat piece of cardboard to a fully formed dome habitat. So how many triangles are we talking about here? Well, for a dome that's big enough for you to actually sit inside, you're going to need somewhere between 40 and 60 triangles. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but trust me, with our assembly line approach, you'll be cranking them out in no time.
The best way to do this is to set up your own little mini factory. You get one person to be the tracer, using a master template. Then you have your cutters, who safely cut out the shapes. And finally, the tapers, who reinforce all the edges. It's a teamwork, you know? It makes the whole process way more efficient. And hey, here's a pro tip for you. If you want to customize your dome a little, why not make some windows? Just take 3 or 4 of your triangles before you assemble them, cut out the center, and tape some clear plastic over the hole. It's a really simple touch that makes the whole thing feel so much more real.
Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most critical tip in this whole explainer. You absolutely must tape every single seam on both the inside and the outside. If you only tape the outside, the joints will just act like hinges and the whole thing can just collapse. That little bit of extra tape makes all the difference for a sturdy dome.
Now for the really exciting part, raising the structure. You're going to start by making a base ring of 10 triangles. Then, as you add the second layer, you'll see it naturally starts to tilt inwards, creating that curve. You just keep adding layers, building up that curve until you get to the very top, and then you lock it all in place with your final pentagon cap.
So, the dome is built, is standing, it looks awesome. But now we get to turn it into your own personal command center. Let's talk about how to bring this habitat to life. And this is where you can just let your imagination go wild. You can throw in some red and white LED strips for that cool mood lighting, maybe create some fake control panels out of old keyboards. You could even build a cardboard airlock tunnel to get in and out, or install a PC fan for a little life support ventilation. The possibilities are totally endless.
Okay, just a couple of quick but really important safety tips. First, make sure your dome has good ventilation. You can do that by adding some hatches at the top and the bottom. And for your lighting, please stick to battery-powered LEDs. Plug-in lights can get hot, and that's a fire hazard we don't want. All right, so we've covered the build, the customization, and the safety. Now let's just take a moment for a final debrief on what makes this project so effective and so awesome.
So what really makes this dome so special? Well, for one, the aesthetic. It just looks so cool and futuristic. The acoustics inside are also incredible. Sound gets all unique and echoey. And of course, there's just the massive sense of pride you get from building this singular, incredible object all by yourself.
So, we've given you the blueprint. You know the secret of the soccer ball method. The only question left is, what world are you going to build inside your dome? A lunar colony? An underwater research lab? Something totally new?
The choice is yours. Happy building!